So today we are going to talk about a schedule you can live with. It's funny because we are in this industry where we seem to think and have it in our head that we have to work 24/7. We have to be available at all times, or the big fear around that is if we're not, that we're going to lose a deal. And so if we don't answer the phone immediately, then somebody's going to go on to the next person. And it's gotten even more challenging with spam calls, right? And all these people that are calling you about stuff that, do you need your new health insurance done? Do you need a business loan? My phone blows up, and it's definitely blown up over the holidays with all kinds of scam calls. It's funny when I go into some of these Facebook groups and I see, oh, agents never answer their phone. First of all, it's up to you to create a schedule, but now with all the scam calls, it's getting harder and harder to actually answer your phone. Would you not agree?
I agree.
By the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Marguerite Crespillo. I've been in real estate as of December 23rd, 30 years. Yes, 30 years. And I've even been more blessed to have been part of over 4,000 transactions in my career. I don't say that to brag. I just say that I have a lot of street credit. I've been through every kind of situation you can possibly imagine. Every once in a while I get stumped, but not very often. And what I love the most is being able to take all of that massive amounts of knowledge that's in my brain there somewhere and be able to share it with those of you who are out there. We're facing a challenge. We had a challenging 2023 in our real estate market. And who the heck knows what's going to happen in 2024? As long as I've been doing this, I've not been able to predict things. What I can tell you is that what I've historically seen is the more calls I get from clients and people between around December 26th to around January 15th is usually indicative of what the year is going to look like. And I've already had people reaching out to me before the year ended even about getting their house on the market in the spring or things like that. So I personally think it's going to be a good year, but it's going to be a good year based on your database. And what's going to make it a better year is how good you are at managing your time. So let's dive into this. So ordinary people think merely of spending time. Great people think of using it. And so it's really up to you to really create those boundaries and hold to them. Because the addictive behavior of this business means you're so afraid you're going to lose a deal that you'll drop everything in order to take that phone call. And I can tell you that I have raised my 3+3 bonus kids in this real estate industry. And my hope for you is that you are not putting your family and your life aside for what business you might potentially get. So I learned something early on when I got into real estate. I remember somebody saying they took Sundays off. I was like, oh, you can't take Sundays off. That's when everybody sells real estate. And they had simply created a message and a voicemail, a message on their voicemail that said something like mine. Hi, this is Marguerite Crespillo, and thank you so much for calling me. I'm available Monday through Fridays from 8:30 to 6 p.m. I work evenings and Saturdays by appointment. I take Sundays off to be with my family. And anybody who's known me for a while knows that's what my voicemail says. The interesting thing is that who is most disrespectful of my schedule? The irony is other real estate agents, right? But it's up to me to set that schedule. And how you set that schedule is by creating a line of trust, and you explain things to them up front. What does that mean? It says, Isaac, I'm really looking forward to working with you. I'm excited to help you in buying a home this year. And I want to just give you my schedule real quick. I work Monday through Fridays from 8:30 to 6 p.m. I take evenings and Saturdays by appointment only, and I take Sundays off to be with my family. Now, if something urgent comes up that you really need, or you're going to be traveling or relocating, I can work my schedule around, but primarily I do spend Sundays with my family. Sound good? Here's the crazy thing is people are respectful of that. I'll get messages on Sunday that say, hey, Marguerite, I know you don't work on Sunday. Just want to let you know I was checking into this. Tomorrow when you get in, can you follow up with me about it? Perfect, right? Now, does it mean that you can never answer your call on Sundays? No, that's up to you. But when you create these boundaries around what is important to you instead of what's important to everyone else, you can start to build a life, a business around your life instead of a life around your business, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we did my infamous goals versus priorities class. And we talked about all of the different areas of our life, which we're going to talk about that a little bit right now briefly, but you can always go back and watch that That's available on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube if you're not already. That's where I post a lot of these trainings. Time block the priorities that you've set. So we went through the different areas of our life in goals versus priorities. And we talked about what it might look like to learn really how to build that business around your life instead of a life around your business. What does that mean? It means that I see so many agents that have plans to do something with their family on Saturday. And then guess what? The client calls and says, I'm going to be in town. I can only see homes on Saturday. So all of your plans go out the window. In fact, I still have a voicemail from my son, John. Makes me cry every time I think about it. When he was around 5 years old and we were supposed to go to the movies, and the voicemail says, hey, Mom, we're supposed to go to Shark Tales. It's 4 o'clock and you're not here yet, Mom. Are you going to make it? I really wanted to go see that movie, Mom. You promised we would go. Okay, it looks like you have to work, Mom. I love you. I'll see you later. Now, for any of you parents out there, when you hear that voicemail, and one of these days I'll have to pull out the actual recording, it makes me want to throw up. And the truth is that I was putting my work over my family, and it happens every day. And I made a conscious decision that I'm not going to continue to do that. How are you doing in each of these areas of your life? We've talked briefly about this in our goals versus priorities class. Did you take the time to block out some time and put down a couple things that you want to make a priority this year in your work life? Do you have work time actually budgeted in your weekly schedule? And what does that look like for you? How many hours a week are you going to be doing work? And what do you want to specifically do during that time? I'll tell you guys something that I have learned for myself, for any of y'all that might be AD or ADHD out there. I know that I can focus on a specific task for about 30 to 40 minutes. Beyond that, I'm like looking for something to do. Oh, I need to go to the restroom. Oh, I need to go get a drink. Oh, I need to, like, I can't focus a whole lot longer than that. And so I've learned to put specific projects into my calendar in 30-minute windows. Now, that doesn't mean you can't break things up or change things up a little bit, but how much work time are you actually putting in your schedule? And we're going to get to the schedule in a moment, but we're going to go through each of these tasks, these areas of our life real quick. When it comes to money, how many of you, if you have a partner or a significant other or a spouse, how many of you actually sit down with them once a month and go through your finances and go through your budget and talk about what your goals and what your plans are for your finances this year? If you don't have a significant other, how much time are you sitting down, literally looking at where does my money go and how much money do I want to make? How much do I want to save? Do you have a savings account that you're putting money away in? For some of you youngins, Isaac, if you put $100 away every month and you do not touch it, ever, don't touch it, leave it in there and just keep putting that $100 away. By the time you're 40 years old, you could have well over $1 million in the bank. Now, for some of us who are a little more advanced in age, we don't have as much time. We do still need to think about what are we doing about saving. We're in an industry where we love to spend. They're like, oh, do spend $5,000 on those park benches. If you get one deal, it will make sense. But are you tracking your return on investment? Do you even know where your transactions are coming from and what that might look like for you? What does your money look like? Do you even have a savings? Do you have a budget? I'd like to start seeing people be more excited about saving money, which is in their savings account, and how much their gross commissions are, which are not real. Those are before expenses and things like that. How much money do you have in your savings? If you don't have a savings account at all, guess what? Today's the day. One of the things that I did years ago is I opened an account at Navy Federal Credit Union. And the reason I did is because they only have one that you can actually go to in San Diego area and I think Hawaii. And so why did I do that? Because guess what? In order for me to pull money out of that account, I actually have to call them and request it, and they have to mail it to me. So that is the cool part. I'm not going to be able to go and take money out of there real quick. So something to think about. What are you doing currently in your savings? And do you have a time blocked out once a week, once a month, where you sit down and you review your finances? Right now, we're all going to be forced to, is we're going to have to get ready for our tax stuff. But what if you could be looking at that on a regular basis in order for you to hit your goals? The next one is self. How much time are you spending on yourself? We're at the time of year where people have all these New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to diet, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to whatever that you have decided to do. Honestly, that should be happening throughout the year. Like there's no reason that says you have to start at January 1. You could start at March 1. You could start at April 1. You could start at April 10th. Who cares? The bottom line is, are you blocking out that specific time for yourself and what you're doing with it? Are you taking time to meditate? Are you taking time for quiet time? Are you taking time to read, to walk, to anything? I've been having some issues with my feet lately, and what I know is that a body in motion stays in motion. It's become really important for me to get up, get out, go walking, right? Some of you might know I broke my foot last year. That now has caused issues in my other foot. Anyway, no drama there. The point is, I know it's really important for me to keep moving, keep walking, keep doing the physical work to keep me healthy. There's a saying that says if you walk just 30 minutes a day, it can add an extra 8 years to your life. People who stop walking and who sit have a much shorter lifespan. So I don't know, I don't stick around a while. So I need to keep my hiney in motion, right? All right, spiritual. Are you taking time for your spiritual self? Do you feel connected to source? Do you want to get back involved in your church if you participate in one? Do you want to get involved in a charity? If there's something that means something to you in your heart, what does that look like? How much time are you devoting on a weekly basis to that spiritual connection, that possible way of giving back and doing more? It's interesting because during the holidays, people are also wanting to give and help. And I've always wanted to do a Christmas in July type thing because the people that need a lot of help, they need it like all year round, not just Christmas, right? So if you have a giving heart and you want to be able to give back and do some community work or participate again in your church or find a way that you can give and improve those areas in your life, what I know for sure is that if it's not in my calendar, it's not going to happen. So what can you do to make sure that some of this stuff is put in your calendar? Now, here's the great thing about a love life. First off, you don't have one. Maybe it's on your goals this year to have one, right? Which means take some time to think about what you want that relationship to look like. What I know is that you will attract people where you are. So if you're in challenging relationships or you've historically not done well with that, guess what? You need to maybe work a little bit on you to attract the right type of person that you want. But you also have to be, just like anything else, you have to be clear on what your boundaries are and the type of people you want in your life. If you currently have a love life, I'm here to tell you that one of the best things you can do is make date nights, do things to make it better. Set aside, and it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to be anything that goes over the top, but what can you do to make your relationship better? Tony Robbins says it best, if you do what you did in the beginning, there will be no end, right? In fact, I wrote an entire book about it called The 100 Things I Love About You. And if you guys are interested, you feel free to click the QR code and I'm happy to send you out a signed copy of my book. But one of the things that I talk about in my book was our date night. So my husband, Joe, and I will have been together 38 years in May, married 33. And so I remember when our anniversary comes around, you go, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't care. What do you want to do? You want to go out to dinner? Sure. Let's go out to dinner. Well, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? And you go do this round and round thing. And so we started on our 9th anniversary doing a alternate whose year it is to plan our wedding anniversary. Joe got the first one, and that first year, he gave me 9 of something every day for 9 days. It was really sweet. I got 9 roses, 9 cards, 9 books that I like, 9 of something every day. Not to be outdone, because I was next year, I did a scavenger hunt. So I had a bunch of our friends and gifts and places and sent him out on this wild goose chase scavenger hunt. It was a ton of fun. Here we are, 38 years later, we still alternate whose year is to plan. We did make a couple rules. One of the rules is you can involve friends for ideas and suggestions, but you can't bring them along. Right? And if it's your turn to plan, it has to be all about them, not all about you. For example, my husband loves to golf. My husband loves sushi. He loves going on Harley rides. So when it comes to my year to plan, I did things that mean things to him. However, when it's his year to plan, we can't do Harley rides and go golfing because I don't like any of that stuff. It's become really fun and entertaining to get creative. And let's see, next year, 33 is his turn to plan. So we've had a lot of fun things over the years, but here's the thing, in order to keep the love alive, you have to keep doing the work. And here's something to remember. Relationships are not 100, 50-50, they're 100. There are times when you're going to give way more, and there are times when they are going to give way more. And what I'm here to tell you is if you're trying to keep score, if you're saying, but he did this, so I've been taking care of this, he should, they don't keep score. You have to constantly be doing things that you would want done to you. What kind of things would you want in a relationship? What's important to you in your relationship? And make sure that you're doing those things to take care of them. So do you have a weekly date night plan? Maybe you're like, oh, I don't have time. I got kids. I got this, I got that. Here's what'll happen. If you don't make time for it now, when all the kids are grown and gone, guess what? Your relationship is going to end. I've seen it more times than I can count. Because so much time and focus was put on the kids that once the kids are gone, now you're looking at each other. We don't have anything in common anymore. Make date nights. Do it where 1 week you plan and 1 week they plan. Get a big jar, throw lots of date ideas into it and draw something each week. Again, they don't have to cost money. It could be simply as you, the two of you, going for a walk around the neighborhood. It could be love letters, sticky notes on the walls. It could be sweet text messages or calls during the day or voice messages. It could be taking off and going for a hike in the hills or going and just grabbing some food and parking your car somewhere up on the hill and watching the sunrise. Lots of great things you can do for date night, but here's what I'm going to tell you. If you don't make it a priority, then next thing you will no longer be a priority in a relationship. So it's really important. Again, if you're more interested in my thoughts on this, feel free to grab a copy of my book. I'll get it signed and mailed out to you. Okay, family. So again, family has a tendency to get pushed way down to the bottom of the list. Now times change, right? There are times when your kids are super priority, everything's going on with them. And then now, like my kids are grown, I'm sitting around going, now what do I do, right? The good news is I have a grandbaby, so I get to spend some time with my grandson. But how are your relationships with your family, and what can you do to block out some family time? Again, it could just be Sunday dinner. We love to do Sunday dinner at our house. It doesn't happen every Sunday, but I try to get it to happen as much as possible. It could be sitting around playing cards or doing something like that, right? It could be just having a phone call with your kids, calling to chat with them each week to say, hey, how's life? How's things going? These are all really important things. So what are you doing each week at some point to spend a little time with your kids? My niece is here living with us for a bit, and she loves the fact that we sit down and eat dinner at night at the table. And I actually really enjoy that as well. Is that become important to you? What can you do? All right, happiness. How much time are you spending in the places of joy? Happiness is like peeing in your pants, right? Everyone can see it, but only you can feel it's warm. Are you a happy person? Do you exude joy when you're around people? Do you go out and get around people that are happy, right? What can you do to make yourself feel good and laugh and smile? Maybe it's listening to some comedy. My husband's a stand-up comedian now. Maybe it's just getting your house organized and clean. I'll tell you what, I normally leave all my Christmas stuff up for about a week after Christmas, and this year I was over it. Day after Christmas, I had my whole house packed up, clean, put away, and I was like, I was so happy to see my house clean and organized and all the stuff put away, right? What is it that brings you joy? What is it that makes you happy? Maybe you're wacky like me and cleaning out junk drawers makes you happy. But whatever that looks like, do you have some time in your schedule to do those types of things, right? All right, so friends, last one. Good friends don't let you do stupid things alone. If you don't find yourself having a whole lot of friends right now, is that because you haven't been a great friend, right? Maybe it's something that you need to do to reach out to some of your friends, get together, meet for a little happy hour, or meet for a craft night, or I know a couple things I want to do this year is have some fun cooking nights at my house because I really enjoy cooking. And so I thought everyone keeps asking me about bread. I'm like, come on over. We'll do a little sourdough bread lesson. I'm not an expert by any means. I do it just for fun and I do it because I enjoy it. But I would love to do some little things like that with some friends. come over, maybe we make lots of chocolate stuff over some wine, who knows? But what kind of things can you do? What I know is that when I hang out with my friends, I laugh, we have a good time, we chat, we always leave saying, oh, we need to do that more often. What are you doing with friends? Here's the deal with goals versus priorities every 90 days. And the important part is that how important is your time, right? Because again, we want to build this business around your life. So now you can take each of these categories, you can see them color coded, and you can plug them into your calendar. Print out this simple calendar, this simple weekly schedule, and start to plug things into your calendar. I know, again, if it's not in my calendar, it's not going to happen. What can that look like? Here's an example, right? Spirituality, meditation, Monday through Fridays in the morning. I just got my sauna working again. So now I can go sit in the sauna and do my time out there. Then what happens between 7 and 8? Guess what? My kids are all grown, so I don't have to be getting up, making breakfast or things like that for them. So I can go through my emails, my voicemail. I can sit down with my to-do list, which I do good old-fashioned paper, y'all. And I plug in what things need to happen so I can prepare for my day. Do we have team meetings, right? Is there a time that you're going to review your finances? Is there time you can plug in where you can have lunch with friends? What does your Sundays look like? Do you go to church? Do you do open houses in the afternoon? Do you take that whole day off? Or Saturday night's your date night? Can you plug in family dinner time? All these blank areas can all be things that I can plug in for buyer or listing appointments, right? They're open areas for me to work on my business during business hours. You can see that I also like to try to go to the gym in the afternoons, a couple days a week. What does all this look like for you? What does your schedule look like? I know, again, for a fact, if things are not in my schedule, it doesn't happen. You can even laugh when you see I let my chickens out in the morning every day and I put in my schedule at 5 o'clock at night to go put my chickens away. Why? Because if I don't put it in my calendar, I'll forget. And I've had chickens go to chicken heaven because I forgot to close the gate. I know, it's funny. But the truth is, what kind of things can you be plugging in? What does your schedule look like? As you can see, I have lots of blank areas right here that would allow me to plug in prospecting time. I can do more prospecting, calling, open houses, previewing properties, scheduling time to work on marketing projects, things like that. So this is an example of what that schedule will look like. So you can see you take the blank one and then you take this. Now, can things change? Yes. If I have stuff going on Saturday and I have a relocation client coming in out of town, can I rearrange things? Yes. But overall, this is my primary schedule of what I like to do and what those kinds of things look like. Again, you can plug all this in. Here's an example of mine when I do my coaching calls. I do coaching on Thursday mornings. And by the way, I do have 2 spots that just opened for one-on-one coaching clients in the coming quarter. So if you have any interest in that, you can reach out to me and I'll get you my Calendly link and we can schedule a time to see if we're a good fit or not. You can see client appointments. I can review net sheets during that time, preparing for my Tuesday tune-ups. Lots of different things that you can see on this schedule. This is from my old one back in the day when I had my kids at home. So you can see some examples. There you go. It's so important to put them in your calendar, right? You can also put them into your Google Calendar. If you like, Google has the option to color code things. So you can see right here how you can set up your Google Calendar. And I think that's all I got for today. Any questions, any thoughts, any feedback?
No, great. It was great. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Brandon. Good to see you,
Good to see you too. I've been sick.
That's okay. A lot of people have been sick. I got to start passing out my witch's brew and I made elderberry syrup yesterday, a big old thing of it. So, yeah. Well, good to see you. If I can help any of you in the new year, please reach out. Be sure to share our Tuesday tune-ups on social media and have a fabulous 2024. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you as always.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Bye.